Welcome to Wager Talk TV. I am Kelly Stewart, joined today by the man himself, Teddy Covers, and we're going over top threes today. Starting off right out of the gate, Teddy, how do you deal with the losing streak?
Well, let's start with this, Kelly. You had them. I've had them. Everybody's had them. They're going to happen. It doesn't matter how good you are at this, how bad you are at this. Losing streaks are inevitable. All right. They're a part of the process. There's something that we all deal with. Doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. Losing streaks can and will happen. So the first thing I do when I'm in the midst, and I lost yesterday and the day before, and I just can't, the first thing I do is I breathe. And that sounds silly, but it's true. When you're losing, people get wound up, tight. Exhale and breathe. Take a step back. Take a day off if you need to take a day off. That's something I do sometimes when you're really struggling, when you're not seeing things clearly. Some guys like to go to the movies. I like to go hiking. You know, if I want to get my mind off of this stuff, I'll go up into Red Rock or up into Mount Charleston and take my mind off it. But when you're struggling, when you're losing day after day, you got to take a step back. You have to breathe, take a step back, take a day off, and then reassess. That's at least tip number one when it comes to struggling.
Yeah, that one's the hardest one for me. Always the hardest is to get out of your own head. But once you're able to do that, at what point in time do you start recommending somebody to cut their unit size?
So when you're not seeing things clearly, if you're betting a percentage of bankroll, your wager sizes are going to go up and down. And when you're seeing things clearly, you're going to be betting more. And when you're not seeing things as clearly, you're going to be betting less. So what I would encourage you to do is to make sure that your unit sizes are appropriate for your current bankroll. So if you started out, whatever, $1,000, and now you're down to $500, your unit sizes need to reflect the fact that you have a $500 bankroll. So the one thing that a lot of beginning bettors do, and I'll talk about this more in just a minute, but a lot of beginning bettors, when you're struggling, you're betting more instead of betting less. And the opposite, in fact, is true. If you're not seeing things clearly, the last thing you want to be doing is raising your unit sizes. It's okay as long as you're betting percentage of bankroll consistently. Just keep doing that. And if your bankroll declines, your wager sizes decline.
Very good point. It always reminds me whether you're betting sports or at a blackjack table. Soon as you start to press, guess what happens? It gets even worse. Speaking of pressing, that's almost like chasing, Teddy. And we all have a horror story or two under our belts about our younger years where we did some really stupid things like chasing our bets. And sounds like yours might take the cake.
Well, look, I mean, again, we've all been through this. The fact you and I, Kelly, we've been doing this for 20, 30 years. So we've had these experiences are on the backside now. We learn from them. I'm sure that many of our viewers have not yet had these experiences the same way. So it's important to emphasize some of these points. And I can't say this any more clearly than this. Don't chase. The Reggie Miller game, people still talk about it, right? When Reggie Miller, had the steal and the three-pointer and the steal and three-pointer at Madison Square Garden to beat the Knicks. That was my double or nothing game. I had the Knicks in that contest. Yes. The Lawrence Phillips game. I had a nightmare bowl season, a true nightmare. I'll tell you what, it was 1995. And I lost, and I went double or nothing. Double up again, and double up again. It all came down. I put everything. I've been losing the whole bowl season, put it all in the national championship game. Lawrence Phillips in Nebraska against Steve Spurrier and Florida. And that game, it was over in the first quarter. I had Florida. Nebraska won. I think it was 62-14 or whatever. It was over. And I spent the next 2 months working for my bookie. And that was the point in which I said, you can't do the double or nothing. You can't bet on the stuff that you don't know. That to me was it was a seminal moment in my betting career in terms of learning not to chase and not to bet more on stuff that I knew less about. So don't chase of all the things, when you're adjusting your unit sizes to reflect current bankroll, chasing's out of the equation. That's the discipline you need to have in order to deal with a losing streak.
See why Teddy's the best? Right now, you can take 25% off one of his daily or all access passes up to 1 full year using coupon code TIPS25, TIPS25, one per user. So make sure you guys use that one wisely.